Good morning, Mary Lach.
Good morning.
And thank you for your coming to tell your story. Co-worker stories. Well, you have a triple story. You're a co-worker and you're an associate and you're a mother and a grandmother, and you have to be sure and tell that story about your grandson.
Yes.
Not, you know what I'm talking about. But this is an important part of our history, the Adrian Dominican's history. So, and our benefactors in particular are very interested in listening to the story. So thank you so much for your generosity in sharing part of who you are. I know we can't do your whole life, but we're going to hit the highlights and the special moments. So anyway, now your present position on campus is?
I'm the director of the Associate Life program.
Can you explain to us what the Associate Life is?
Associates are women and men who believe they have the Dominican charism and they want to partner with the sisters in mission and in prayer in all sorts of ways, in relationship. We have about 230 associates now, and they're spread out all over the country, wherever our sisters were in mission. For instance, Florida, I just was in Santa Cruz. There are quite a few associates there.
Right.
Seattle, the Southwest, and of course in Michigan and throughout Chicago.
Now, when did you become an associate?
In 2000. So that's 1999, so it's 18 years or so.
Wow. So maybe you could tell us the story of how that came about for you.
Okay. I did parish work before I did this. I was a director of religious ed and sacrament coordinator, and I worked with Audrey Wentz, who was one of our first associates.
Yes, dear Audrey.
And she kept talking to me about it, and we had a really great friendship, so it looked like it was working for her. And I didn't know any Adrian Dominicans.
Interesting.
I grew up in Grand Rapids, and I knew Grand Rapids Dominicans because I went to Aquinas College for undergraduate. So that would have been more interesting to me because at least I knew somebody. And then Audrey introduced me to Arlene Kosmatka, and she's been my spiritual director for 30 years now. So through her, she kept talking to me about coming to Adrian, and we came here on a retreat with Joyce Rupp a long time ago, and that experience led me to seek out Associate Life. And Audrey and I were in the same mission group, participating in that together. So I got to know more of our sisters and more associates. But my total intention wasn't to work here I just wanted to be in the back row and enjoy myself and listen to especially older women who seemed very happy in their lives. And I wanted that for myself when my children grew up, and I was already planning ahead, how am I going to be when I'm not full-time parent and full-time worker and all the things that I was doing. So I really wanted to be in a women's group, and they seemed quite lovely. And I had some experience with it. I studied in Germany after I graduated from college in a program there. And my German professor from Aquinas was in Regensburg, Germany, taking a sabbatical at the Holy Cross convent where all of us come from. And I had a break of a week, and I stayed there with her in that convent. Of course, not being a sister, I stayed in the guest house, but I was fascinated with the place, that it was built in the 1200s and it was still standing. And I spoke German really fluently then. I don't know if I could still pull it off, but so I got to know some of the sisters, and during the day, Sister Thomasine, who was my professor, we went around the Danube and we went out and had fun, and then at night we would return there. And I do remember quite plainly they had a tree depicted on the wall, and that same thing is here at Madden Hall, that showed them as the trunk of the tree, and all the branches were the different congregations that came out of there. And I saw Adrian up there, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. I'd never been to Adrian, Michigan. So.
That's interesting that you got there. That would be a place to really go see.
And I still
the
have a
roots.
bottle of the stomach tonic that they used to give, that they used to sell to maintain their building. I still have it in my office.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So then you became an associate,
Mm-hmm.
and you enjoyed the associate life. And then you were going to knock on the door to be the
Well,
director?
yes, they asked me to apply. And it was good timing for me because there was a change in leadership in the parish I was working at. And Audrey had retired. And I needed to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been brought here to re-edit the materials that associates use when they're in formation. And I worked with Brenda Stratton from Seattle and Marty Rosmus, who lives in Ypsilanti, Michigan. And we worked about 2 weeks redoing these things. And at that point, they asked me to apply for the job. And since I knew all that stuff fresh from it wasn't too hard of an interview. But there was a large challenge that we had there because I don't live near Adrian. And they wanted me to take the job. And I wanted it because it looked like it'd be something I could enjoy, and I like people, and I like doing the things that I have to do, administrative tasks, and talking to people and pastoral work. But we had to work out how I could do that and still live in my house, which is in Clinton Township, north of Detroit.
It's about a couple hours from here.
Yeah, 2.5 hours, yeah.
In the wintertime would be a challenge too.
Well, and I have a brother who's a physicist, and he's gone during the week and then comes home on weekends, and I watched that was really difficult for him. I still had children at home, and so we came up with a deal where I would be here 1 week, and then the next week I would work from my house. So we set up an office in my house, and that's the way it's been for 9 years that I'm here. And I live at Weber Center, and it's my second home, and I enjoy it. I don't know if I would enjoy it so much every single week, but the combination of being home, and part of my job is writing. I write a monthly newsletter. I do a lot of
very interesting newsletter.
corresponding with associates and with other people who do what I do. So that kind of thing I can do from my house more easily than here because it's quiet and it just seems like it's worked out. Sometimes I'm here 2 weeks in a row, but mostly it's every other week I'm here.
Well, you kind of can see what's coming up and what you need to be a part of, and you yourself too, and what you're planning. You have your regular August time that you're here for the weekends, for the weekend with all the associates, yeah.
So yeah, it's worked out really well.
And I'm sure it's been a challenge. I mean, it's not an easy thing to pack up and come for.
No, I
3 or 4
don't have
days.
my own room because
Right.
that's not possible. So I drag stuff around a lot.
Yeah.
But it's every job has something about it that's
A challenge.
yes.
Yeah.
When I started here, I was at a point in my life where I really didn't have a lot of what I would call free time. So that started here. After work, I could do what I wanted. I could go read, I could go for a walk, I could go out to dinner, I could just do nothing. And at home, that's not always possible. There's always another load to throw in the dryer or something to do.
Okay, now home is, you say, in Clinton Township.
Clinton Township.
And who's there?
I've been married to Terry Lach for 38 years. And we met at Aquinas College. So both of our families are from Grand Rapids, so we go back and forth to Grand Rapids a lot. And I have a son, Andrew, who's 29. He works for Apple. He's a technical specialist.
Are you lucky?
Yes. He doesn't like to reveal that too much because people will call him.
Oh, sure.
And he has his own house and his own life. My daughter, Laura, is 35. And she and her husband, Jacob, who's an associate, they had their own place and a flood came and they had to move in with us temporarily with their small little guy, Julian. And after a while, we just decided that we would continue and make it a permanent situation.
That's very generous.
But I had different grandparents live with me when I was a girl, so it seemed normal to me to. The only thing that was a challenge was our house was too small. So we recently moved into a bigger home, and it's pretty much divided where they have their places and we have our places. We don't really parent or do much. We're grandparents to Julian, not his parents. And we enjoy living together. And we have dinner every night together and we do things, but a lot of times they go their way and we go our way so that they can have their own family.
You really have to work at something like that. Yeah.
We took a lot of time before we decided to do it.
Well, tell us the story about Julian, and he loves to come here.
Yes, he does. Julian.
He's kind of grown up here. I mean, we could see, yeah.
Yes, he's been coming here. He's 7 now. He's going into the 2nd grade. And he's always come for partners and run around and saw people and talked to people. And when he was about 3, he wanted to come here, and he calls this place, he still does, the castle where the grandmas live. And he thinks all of you are grandparent material. And
it's our gray hair and glasses, yeah.
And a couple of years ago, I've been working with Sister Lorraine Reum for a few years, and she's a younger sister, much younger. And we were eating, and Julian came along, and I said, "This is Sister Lorraine." And he said, "No, she's not," because she didn't fit the profile in his mind of what a sister is.
Isn't that something?
He loves to come here.
Isn't that something?
And I do too. There's something very special here, and I think even a child can pick up on it. Something, he likes the chapel, the old chapel, and he just likes being here. And there's really nothing for him to do. There's no rides or anything like a child would like.
Kids love those long hallways.
Yes, and the elevators.
And the elevators and stuff like that, yeah. And the attention. I mean,
Yes,
we
and
don't see little
them.
kids around here. And so it is nice to see.
Yeah, he's really fun.
And I know he's a blessing to you and your
He
husband
is.
as well.
He is.
Well, so what do you do just to relax? Forget about the associates, forget about the grandchild.
Big surprise here, reading. That's a
Good,
true
okay.
Dominican thing.
Good.
But I read 1 or 2 books a week. I read
You're
a
kidding.
lot, yes. I'd rather read than watch TV.
Yeah.
I walk. I like to go to the movies.
good
I've
for
had
you.
season tickets to the Lions since they were in the Silver Dome. And that's a surprise to people because I'm such a peace-loving, non-violent person. But I really like football. It doesn't even make sense. But my brother and I have had 4 seats together for years, and he
That's
comes from
nice.
Wisconsin, and we go to the games together and with our partners, and it's fun.
You mentioned a little while ago that when Julian came here, especially on Partners Weekend, maybe you could tell the viewers what you meant by Partners Weekend.
Okay, once a year we invite all the associates and people who are in formation, and some sisters are allowed to come too if they want to, and we have a weekend together, and based on our partnership, and in the last few years we've been working on the enactments, which came out after General Chapter in 2016, and their associates work on the same things the sisters are in our own ways, in our own lifestyles. And so this year we're going to be talking about resilience and how to make associate life a more resilient community. How can we keep going when our numbers we have older people too, and there's a lot of sisters who are getting up in age, and how do we keep being relevant and
vibrant. So you enjoy your ministry?
Very much, very much. I do. I look forward to coming here, and I also look forward to being at home working.
That's nice.
And I've had nothing but pleasant experiences here.
And you know that drive here and that drive home by yourself is also a very
Books on tape.
Books on tape. I was going to say it's a very meditative.
No, it's not too
experience.
meditative on I-94. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and For my 60th birthday, my husband bought me a car, and he's never done any kind of big thing like that.
Wow.
So now I've got things to play with in the car.
Oh, that's good.
And talk on the phone without holding onto
Uh-huh.
the phone. Those are really, really nice things.
Anything else you want us to know about you or the associate program, Mary?
Well, we are, my phone rings a lot. There are a lot of people interested in us. We don't really turn people away. However, we do a lot of work with people who are interested in us to see if this would be a good fit for them. I've come to the conclusion that people are looking for something.
Right, right.
It might
Very
not
true.
be given to them in their church or their parish. And we welcome non-Catholics to
Yes.
associate life.
And men.
And men, yep. We do have younger members, especially in Florida. We have a lot of people in Florida now.
Oh, interesting.
And we're also starting to partner with other congregations of Dominicans. So in Florida, for example, there's some Cincinnati associates, and the sisters who were in mission with them have gone back to Wisconsin. And so now they have been attending our events. They're not going to become us. It's just that we have so much in common that they meet once a month with our associates.
Very good. Okay, well, thank you very much for taking time. You are here this week, I'm assuming.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes.
You didn't come in just...
And I post my schedule, so if
Right.
anybody ever wants to talk to me
Yeah,
or...
oh, that's good, that's good. So thank you for taking on this ministry. It's a challenge and an opportunity to spread the Dominican charism, and you do a beautiful
thank
job
you.
with that, Mary.
It's my
Really,
pleasure.
really,
It's,
yes.
I feel like I continue to grow here, and
And you have a lovely assistant right now. That works-
Marilyn.
Yeah.
and also my husband.
Yes.
I travel a lot for the congregation. He comes with me and
that's
takes
good.
pictures, and
Oh, that's good.
he's always been very comfortable doing that. So I'm really blessed that way too.
Right. So the ebb and flow of things work. Things work out okay.
They
and
do.
that gives your daughter time to have their own space in
Yes,
the house.
I think they're glad to see me go.
Yeah.
The only one who isn't is the dog who mopes around the house while I'm
Oh,
gone.
gosh, that's
She
cute.
lays outside my bedroom door and just cries.
Aw.
I know, it's pathetic.
No, you may not bring her to Weber.
No,
I'm
she's a little
teasing.
dachshund. She's really
Oh,
adorable.
cute,
Yeah,
cute.
it's a little tiny
All right.
one.
Well, bless you, Mary. Again,
Thank you.
so
Thank you
much.
so
In the
much.
name of the congregation for the ministry to the associate program. You do a
Thank you very much.
fantastic
It's my pleasure.
ministry. Blessings.